everyone. Eve Harow, Director of Tourism for One Israel Fund. And today I find myself at the lowest place on the planet. The northern tip of the Dead Sea, something like 420, 425 meters below sea level, in an area that's called the Megillot region. What does that mean? Megillot means scrolls. What does that have to do with where I am? I'm in the area where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. Probably the most important archaeological find of the 20th century, still being investigated. It's an ongoing mystery what's happening with the Dead Sea Scrolls, but basically they are Tanakh. They're the Bible that we're familiar with, portions of the Bible that we know, portions of the Bible that did not make it into the biblical canon, books that we knew about but weren't saved actually in the Tanakh. And another third of them are unique writings from the community of Qumran, which is a couple miles behind me, of maybe the Essenes, maybe the Achad. We're not really sure who lived there. All of that is very up to debate. What is not up to debate is that this is an area of tremendous historical importance to the Jews. All through the First Temple period, the Hasmoneans were here. We conquered at the beginning with Joshua. We're right on the shores of the Dead Sea, also known as the Salt Sea, also known as Lake Asphalt. And there has been a presence here, a continual presence of Jews here all through the times of both temples, even in between the two temple times. The Hasmoneans, Herod, all the way through the Second Temple period. We have things that were growing here, and that's going to be our first stop, is going to be a farm where things that were used in the temple were actually grown and are being regrown today. We've got date plantations here everywhere. The Romans, when they destroyed Judea and they destroyed the temple in the year 70, and they put out a coin, Judea Copta coin, they have a date palm on it. So what does that say? That means for the Romans, this was the symbol of Judea, because you just had so many of the dates growing here. That was the main commodities that were coming out of here with the dates, and were some of what we're going to see later. Very deep history here. It's amazing that the regional council is called the Megillot Council. It's the regional council of the scrolls, and that's how important they are. I'm looking up here at the caves where they were found. Parts of Leviticus was found in the cave just above me, and it just brings the Bible to life. This is not just a book. It never has been just a book, but it is our source of strength. And the Jews have come home. We've come home physically. We're coming home to a place where we can literally fall into the Bible. We can take this and connect with the people who lived here thousands of years ago, reading these same books and copying them and internalizing the message. And we're doing that today as well. And plus replanting the dates, replanting ourselves, and replanting the agriculture that they had here so long ago. It's really like mind-blowing. It's going to be a great day. In Almog today with Guy Erlich. Almog is a kibbutz perched right between the Dead Sea and Jericho. So I've been coming to Guy for many years because he is, crazy as it sounds, has probably the greatest collection of biblical herbs and plants anywhere. Yes?
More than this, I'm the biggest farmer in the world of Balm of Gilead and of the true Frankincense, the Boswellia sacra.
These spices might sound familiar to you because they were part of the incense mix, the ketoret, in the temple, which was not far up the road. I became obsessed with what I call the Afarsimon oil, that's what it's called in the Jewish sources, with Judean balsam, with the Balm of Gilead. It has a lot of different names, which
Tzori,
was one
Kataf.
They thought it was extinct for a long time, and it turns out that maybe it has been rejuvenated and brought back.
Yeah.
So this oil, in addition to smelling incredible, and there's all kinds of stories in our sources about it, about girls who would take a little ampule of it and put it under their shoe, actually a chicken gizzard if I'm not mistaken, and then break it when a cute guy walked by, and the smell would waft all over them and seduce them and drive them crazy. And the rabbis are like, "Benot Yisrael, girls of Israel, what kind of behavior is this?" And that in the world to come, there are rivers of this balsam. But on a very practical sense, it was the most expensive commodity in the world at one point.
It was one of the most important medication of ancient times. First and foremost, as far as I see it, it was an extremely important medication that only the ancient Jewish farmer knew how to deliver it to the world. So it was our contribution to humanity.
They say that the Queen of Sheba brought it with her as a gift to King Solomon, that it does beautifully here in this very arid area right near the Dead Sea, the lowest place on earth. And this is where King Herod makes all his money, and the Hasmoneans before him. So we have to ask, where did all these palaces come from? And this was a tremendous commodity that the world valued, even more than silver and more than gold at one point.
I started my adventure with the Balm of Gilead, a plant that is identified as Commiphora gileadensis, the botanic name Commiphora gileadensis. I hit the road with a naive and romantic vision to bring back the agriculture of the Balm of Gilead to the shores of the Dead Sea and to revive the industries that was once driven from it. Along the years, I became an obsessive collector of medical and perfume plants from the Bible and from the desert, and I decided to extend the border of my vision. Nowadays, I want to establish here at the north of the Dead Sea research and development center for medical plants from the Bible and from the desert. All of my plants answer two criteria. One criteria is that none of them got agriculture anywhere in the world, and the other criteria is that all of them have a very unique and meaningful history of use as medications. So I'm trying to promote medication that are sourced from plants and to make agriculture out of these plants. Some of them are in danger of extinction because they have high demand for them. I understand that these plants are a part of the heritage of my people, of the Jewish heritage. These plants also secret to other religions. Some of them are sacred to Christians, some of them are sacred to Muslims, and all of them have the ability to cure. And I think that this is a important thing to do, especially nowadays. Let me give you a tour. Follow me. This is my second baby after the Balm of Gilead. This tree called Boswellia sacra, and in other words, the true frankincense. This is the frankincense of the incense of the Holy Temple. This is considered to be the most important frankincense. There are 22 species of frankincense in the world. I got my first plant of Boswellia sacra, of the true frankincense, together with my first Balm of Gilead. The origin of the frankincense was from Yemen. Intuitively, I started playing with it like with my Balm of Gilead, learning how to grow it, how to propagate it. After a few years, I found out that without aiming, I'm in a very interesting situation. It appears that this tree only grows wild in different countries at the Horn of Africa, especially in Yemen and the Sultanate of Oman. This tree got no agriculture anywhere in the world. It also appeared that there are 22 species of frankincense, and this one considered to be the most important one, the one with the highest demand, the one with the most interesting medical potential. And it also appeared that due to the high demand, there is a very sad phenomenon of overusing of the tree. And it's more than 10 years, there are articles saying that there is a rapid death of frankincense trees in nature. It's more than 5 years that this tree is on the red list of trees under danger of extinction. And I found myself among the only one in the world grow it agriculturally. Nowadays, I have 1,000 plants of Boswellia sacra, of the true frankincense. Wow. And I hope that when I find the right partner, we'll have at least 100,000 plants of Boswellia sacra, because it is extremely important tree. It got a very interesting medical potential, and this is sustainability. If you want the next generation to be familiar with the tree and maybe even to be cured from it, we do have to make agriculture out of it. I can tell you that you came on a very interesting time. This is the blooming time, the blooming season. You can see the flowers of the frankincense and the fruit of the frankincense.
That's where the essential ingredient comes from? It's from the fruit?
No, the main ingredient of the tree nowadays and on ancient time was from the resin.
Okay.
Though my trees are not mature enough to produce the resin, they produce only very small amount of resin. But there are also good and interesting material in the fruit and in the flowers. I can tell you that nowadays I'm working with a master distiller in order to produce alcoholic beverages based on the frankincense and the Balm of Gilead. 2 years ago, I read an article about a very unique honey that is produced at the Sultanate of Oman with bees that fed from the flowers of the frankincense, of the Boswellia sacra. 2 years ago, a friend of mine gave me a beehive. And after 2 months, we opened it and we had 4 kilograms of very unique honey. The beehive are here, and we are extremely...
And you were able to sell it for like, what, $1,000
It was sold in extremely high
amazing.
price of $1,000 per kilogram. Very quick, we were out of honey.
Land of milk and honey,
yeah,
in all different forms.
It paid a few months of water bills.
Yeah. Water bill, I would imagine. Water is like a major issue for you here?
Yeah, water is a major issue. First of all, it's expensive, and second, it's critical. Without water, there are no life in the desert.
Right. And it's not like you can take a break from your plants for a couple of months.
I cannot, and even though it's a bit green here, it is still a desert. If you look around, you'll see a desert around you.
Right.
We are a green spot at the middle of the desert.
An oasis, as they say.
Oasis,
yeah.
Indeed. The plant that is identified with the Balm of Gilead, Commiphora gileadensis, the first one came to Israel from Saudi Arabia. It got different smells on different parts of the plants. On ancient time, the ancient Hebrew farmer used to produce at least three important raw material. The most important raw material was the resin. If you come a bit closer, I'll make a cut here with my nail, and you'll be able to see the resin coming out. Bring your finger here.
And the bracha that we say, the
And
blessing.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא שמן ערב. Amen. And it's funny, but Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, he proved to bless shemen arev on my essential oil of the Balm of Gilead.
It's the only plant in the world that gets this.
This is the only one.
Blessing, right?
There is, in Judaism, there are 5 blessings from the smell. It started the smell is very important because it's the only sense in Judaism that works directly on the soul, without filters. כל הנשמה תהלליה. And there are 5 smell blessings. בורא עצי בשמים, בורא מיני בשמים, בורא עשבי בשמים, נותן ריח בפרי, and שמן ערב. There is one bless to all the trees in the world and another bless only for this plant. So the resin was one important ingredient. Another important raw material was the fruit. This is the fruit of the Balm of Gilead. This is the size of the fruit. It will not be bigger. And it got a different smell, more lemonade, more sweet. Much more pleasant than the resin. There is a unique smell at the fresh leaves of the summertime. You can see this red branch. It got a very unique smell, a third one. It's a third note of smell. By the way, in Hebrew, the name of this plant is balsam. Balsam is perfume in Hebrew. Now, the name of the plant became a general name for liquid essence. And when we talk about perfume, we talk about a combination of smells, composition of smells, 3 different notes of smell. And here we have 3 different notes of smell in one plant. That's called balsam. Now, nowadays I have 10,000 plants of Balm of Gilead, of Conifera gileadensis, 5,000 of them already planted in the ground. Out of my 10,000 plants, 9,000 are from cuttings. And when we are making cuttings, we are duplicating the mother plant. But over here, this is the small but important float of my Balm of Gilead. I have 1,000 plants of Balm of Gilead that started as seeds. Now, when plants start as a seed, each one got its own character. Sometimes it's for good, sometimes it's for bad. But this is the future. Here we will find the strong plants that we will duplicate them. And even then, we'll keep on seeding plants because this is what my teacher for agriculture taught me, Dr. William Soloway. This is our distillery, 500-liter distillery, semi-commercial distillery. Here we distill the essential oil of the Balm of Gilead. Yesterday we harvest the plant and crush it. And at 5:30 in the morning we started distilling. The Balm of Gilead we cultivated, we gave it a comeback after 1,500 years of absence. Precious than gold. Balm of Gilead essential oil.
Judean balsam never really grew for anyone else except for the Judeans. And here we are again, growing the Judean balsam, growing the frankincense, growing the myrrh, where it used to grow, right near the shores of the Dead Sea. We're back in so many ways. It's not just about having laws of the country and having the people in the country. It's also having the plants. That's part of our past. That's part of our future. The Afarsimon farm, right near the shores of the Dead Sea, I love it.